And we got one more. Scott Connolly isn't here, but he wants to send his alter ego. He's the U.S. national champion from 1994. One of the upcoming young stars, the one and only Quadzilla, Paul Demayo.
Hello. It's good to be back again for, I think, this fourth time for me here in England. And every time I come back to compete here, it's always a great experience. All the fans are wonderful. The show is, the crowd here is 100% behind all the athletes. And I always look forward to coming here competing in the Grand Prix. And it's no problem for me when they say, hey, how about going to England and competing in the Grand Prix? I'm all for it. So for me, it's just a great opportunity to be here to visit you guys once again.
How you doing? This is my first time here in England. This is one place where I've always wanted to come and see for myself. I'm from Boston, and a lot of people compare Boston with England, saying it's the same type of place and blue-collar town. So I'm very happy to be here. And Vince, you want to say hi?
Oh, just short and sweet hello here. Let's get busy.
Well, since it's all three of us here, and I'm pretty sure you guys have questions that you'd like to ask each and every one of us. So probably the best thing to do is if we just open the floor up for questions. If anyone have any questions about training and about how we prepare for contests or how we feel or how we continue to go on from one show to the next show, we'll be more than glad to answer your questions. So who's going to go first?
Come on, don't be shy. There you go, right there. How many calories do we eat off season? I'll tell you what, we'll do the answer. We'll all answer specifically, okay? Oh, thank you. I myself, off season, don't count calories. Off season, I pretty much just eat when I'm hungry, and I know enough to eat nutritious food, and if I'm going to eat a little junk, I'll eat it. I'm just as human as anyone in this room. But to answer your question, I don't count them off season. There's really no need for me to. And I don't, Kevin?
For me, I'll probably take in around about 5,000. I do a high protein, medium carbohydrate, and a very low fat diet. I try to stick close to within 10 or 15 pounds of my competition conditioning on an off season. So I try not to blow up, really get too big, because I like to kind of stay fit and I guess pose on off season. So I really have to watch my conditioning as well. And I continue to do aerobics and everything else. Once in a while, I might have a cheat day, maybe on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, but during the week, I've learned over the period of years of it's easier for the body when you pretty much try to stay within 10 or 15 pounds of your contest conditioning.
And for myself, I'm not a number counting guy either. Unlike most of the professional bodybuilders that I claim to be, I don't eat on a very strict regime. I'm a McDonald's and Burger King kind of guy myself. So I don't know what the Big Mac whops in calories, but 2 of those a day, a couple of cheeseburgers, once in a while Pizza Hut, It adds up, but it's not a lot of calories. I don't eat a lot myself. That's the truth, that. I'm not lying.
Go ahead. The question for each and every one of us. Right now, today, I'm probably 243, 244.
Saturday was Olympia. I was 255 at the Olympia, and I've put on a few pounds to say. And I don't know if you know do you know kilos here? I stepped on a scale, said I was 125 kilograms, whatever that is. I don't know into pounds. What is that?
You're 275 pounds. A lot larger than he
180.
thought he was.
I'm only 228, so I can't match those statuses.
That's easy for me. What keeps us motivated? Now, for me, it's, you know, I used to work construction for a living, and I used to be on the street digging holes, and I hated it. And when I found out that, you know, I didn't find out, when I started to, you know, make a living from bodybuilding, you know, I always cherished that. I always, you know, kept that in mind. That's what keeps me motivated, because I know what I didn't want to do for the rest of my life. So bodybuilding is very lucrative for me in that way. You know, Kevin?
Thank you, Paul. After every question, Paul goes, Kevin.
Wayne?
Wayne, what keeps you motivated? What keeps me motivated is bodybuilding is an individual sport, and it's something that I learned through growing up as a kid, that I really didn't like to play game sports because I always wanted to win, or to have the ball and to run the ball and be a ball hog, say, and playing football or basketball, whatever it was. So I kind of like bodybuilding because it's something individual, and if you fail, it's pretty much because you have no one else to blame but yourself. And when you succeed, you reap the rewards yourself. So each day, each contest, each time I go into the gym to train, it's always a challenge for me to look better than I was in the previous competition that I competed in. And I kind of get my drive from that, and I've been driven ever since I ripped my pec in 1993. That gave me a lot of drive and determination to come back after that injury, and to come back as good as I was, or try to get better than I've ever been. And things like that's what I think about when I go in the gym and train.
After those two answers, you know, it's kind of hard to follow these guys. Motivation is for each one of us quite differently, I think. Myself, it's really hard for me to stay motivated in bodybuilding because it went from a sport to a job, and like anybody else, I think when you wake up and go 8 to 5 to work, you're not really motivated every morning to go there Monday to Friday. And for me, it's just a way to compete against the 290-pound guy, to chase the 240-pound guy. If that ain't enough motivation for you, then you can go to Burger King and relax. So, you know, that's motivation.
Question? For me, on an off season, me and my wife, we might have like a glass of wine or something once in a while. You know, it's not something that I do on a regular basis, and I think that to be a top-notch athlete, you do have to have some kind of discipline and self-control about what it is that you do when you're outside of the gym, and things like that. I just try to stay away from. But you do need to relax, and occasionally, you know, I settle back and maybe have a glass of wine once in a while.
I'm really not a big drinker. I party here and there once in a while, but really drinking it was a high school thing for me. And as far as the muscles being, I think the hangover is what kills you, so much the alcohol. So, Vince?
Yeah, I drink. I like gin tonic, and I like my ale, and you know, but when I'm in a competition, you know, I kind of like stay away from the poison. But when the competition's over and the stress of the situation is done, I will have my long, cold drink. Yes, I will. And I still have muscles.
You drink every day, though? No, huh? Once in a while, right?
Well, I'm living in Florida, so we spend quite a little bit of time outside the gym when it's so hot. You know, you're running from air conditioner to air conditioner. So when I'm not training, I'm inside cooling out someplace, watching TV.
You know, I really can't even answer your question for me because you have so much work sporadically through the year. I'm always in there, you know, but any time free time that I have away, you know, I mean, I like to go out and eat. A little.
For me, I just kind of kick back once in a while, maybe go sing some karaoke, but that's probably about it.
Sing right now.
Nah, I can't do that. Just you know, try to get away from it all. You have to have something outside of the gym to kind of keep you balanced. And over the last year, I've just been working on my club, my health club, and that's been really keeping me busy.
Thanks, thank you. Mike who? Matarazzo? You don't want to get me going on that one. We were, but two people kind of like of our status train in the same backyard, the same gym, same neighborhood. We were never close friends. We were just acquaintances. And the way we became acquaintances was one group of friends would say Mike's better, one group of friends would say Paul's better, and you know that would leave Paul and Mike in the arguments all the time. But you outgrew all that and whatnot, and we were just more of an acquaintance thing. I think the magazines showed that, you know, because we were in the same spot or whatever, we were tight friends, but we were never tight friends. And he's in Florida now, I think, and I know the biggest question that everyone asks is he with Sandy? I don't know. And all these things that, you know, someone I would know my friend. So to answer your question, you know, we're just acquaintances. I probably know Kevin better than I do Mike. Don't be shy, just yell out, because we have a tough time seeing you. It's a little dark back there. Go ahead. A little louder. The results. Well, I'm dying to see the video because I was standing in the back. I didn't get to see everything front on, so. Top 10? Wayne, what were the exact top 10?
Dorian was first, and he received a perfect score. And when we we'll be showing highlights in about an hour or so, and hopefully, I don't know what's on these highlights. The TV guy did it for me. I hope you be able to see that too. He was probably in the best condition he was ever in. That's the consensus of everyone there. Kevin was second. Third was Nasser El Sombadi, who you'll see later on today. Fourth was Sean Ray. Fifth was Vince. Sixth was Chris Cormier, who you'll see later on today. Seventh was Michael Francois. Eighth was Flex Wheeler. Ninth was Aaron Baker, and 10th was Charles Claremont.
I think probably when Dorian retires.
What was it? One more left. Training partners. I think if you have a good one, it's efficient. I mean, it depends what you want in your partner. I mean, I myself, I depend on my partner. Number one, the biggest thing with me is you got to be on time. I personally can't stand to be in a gym waiting for somebody to come. And second of all, that person has to want to train and have the same drive as you. Because if you're training with a dead fish, your workouts are going to be dead. That's how I feel. When I lived in California, I trained alone because I couldn't click with anyone out there. So everyone finds a little niche where they can click with somebody. And I think you need that niche to click with someone good to work out all the time in a steady groove. Kev, you got a training
My
partner?
feelings about training partners, I've always did have a training partner, but they just never, I end up burning them out or something because I end up, every time I get ready for a contest, I find myself with a new training partner. So it's very important to have one, but if you can have one that's going to stick by you and be there with you through thick and thin and difficult times, that's the hard thing, which is really hard to find from someone who isn't training for certain goals and attributes that you are. But if you can find someone that's compatible to you, then great, and you should see some tremendous results from a training partner.
Well, personally, I've trained alone since I started bodybuilding. It is my philosophy that you really don't need a training partner, but it's always keep in mind to be safe when you exercise with a certain piece of equipment. If you have somebody standing around to make sure there's safety is being noted as you're executing, then it's an advantage. But as you guys are saying, if you have someone that you work well with, all means, go after it. But if you don't feel left out because you don't have to worry about talking to nobody. You just do your work and get busy. And each way works.
Okay. The last few days before a show, well, I can tell you with on the tour, which pretty much each of us has probably done today or the couple of days before a show or hours before the competition, is sit in the sauna. I believe it works. For me, it works. Vince was in the sauna earlier as well. NASA was, and probably 3 or 4 of the other guys. Probably sit in the sauna around maybe 10 to 15 minutes will have a tremendous improvement on your physique before you hit the stage. Probably just cut back on your water intake a little if there's not a sauna available, or maybe take some long walks and maybe cut back on your carbs. Vince?
And those of you who want to conserve energy, for years I have used the old plastic bag routine. You simply apply a coat of baby oil on your skin, a regular hefty plastic garbage bag. You make it out of a shirt, a hole in the top, 2 in the side for the arms, pull it over your body, tie it down around your waist, put a couple of sweatshirts on, go to sleep. The oil will keep the plastic from clinging to your skin, allow it to breathe, but all you're doing is thermically heating up your body, and therefore you have a minimized sauna effect right there. Slightly uncomfortable, because your bed will be wet, but hey, if you need to lose that water, it works in a rush.
Ditto. Anybody else back there? Kids, just yell out. Okay, right there. My record of metrics, is that what you said? What I reckon of it? I truly would not endorse a product that I would not believe in. I believe that in order for me to keep my protein grams high with my caloric intake low, and as far as being sufficient protein and as well as easy. When I mean easy, I mean for me it's much easier to shake up Metrex on an airplane than open up a can of tuna and have everyone in that plane look at me and what stinks and all that. But the product has worked well for me. I've been using this product since 1993. And I think the biggest problem I have is telling people, is like, when I'm doing appearances and things, and people have such a negative attitude, and they'll say to me, do you really use this stuff? And it's like, yeah, look at my back. I use Metrex all the way up to the show, except about 3 days out to the show, I use it. I drink about eight per day, and I strongly believe in it. And my physique has made a lot of changes since '93, since I've been using this product. So therefore, I feel as though I'm not going to stop now. Why should I? And how I got the endorsement real quick was, I'm just not one of these people that will endorse anything they had just given me this stuff to try. And I was using it, and I was getting stronger. My workouts were better. And I was just hoping that they still, gave me free product because I thought it tastes great. And they were approached, we would like to use you as an endorsee, and it went from there. So that's pretty much it. And, we're coming out with, we had them at the Olympia. We have pizza now. It is unbelievable. Chocolate chip cookies, cheesecake, new candy bars, butterscotch, peanut and orange. We're going really everywhere, as far as the food, with the same amount of nutrition inside these foods. So, it's, metrics is, the biggest thing is a lot of people complain expensive. The reason why it's expensive because there's quality things inside that product. Just because another product puts something on a label and you read it, it doesn't mean it's all actually in there. So, it's working good for me, and that's my story, if you have it. We got you. We're just.
Okay, we're trying to decide who's going to take it. For me, I don't carb deplete. I just stick with a strict diet straight up to the day of the competition. I find that it works best for me. And a lot of times when you carb deplete and carb load, you're taking a chance of what they say, hitting and missing. You don't know if your carbs are going to fill in time or if you're going to look the exact way that you would like to look. So I just stick with the same diet all the way up to the day of the competition.
I myself, during the diet, will fluctuate my carbohydrates, to so many grams high one day, low another. But, at the very end, a lot of people freak out and just think, oh my God, I got to go down to 0 carbs and this and that. I just let them be at a moderate percentage, moderate. I don't drop them low. And when the show comes up, I'll eat up more, but I won't go anything drastic. I really don't change anything. So I don't deplete myself down. Like Kevin said, it's a total hit or miss thing.
Just the same, I can only add that I think carb depletion is for those who really understand the scientificness about the body. Whether you understand how to deplete the muscle from glucose, don't mess with it because it's a matter of total depletion. If you're not depleting and you call yourself carb loading, you're adding water to water. It makes no sense. So if you learn the process of depletion, then you need to know about loading because one without the other doesn't work. And right nowadays, I don't think too many guys do that anymore. It just does not seem to give you the effect because if you're not doing it from A to Z, you can't get in halfway. It's really technical to do that.
I also think that once you carb deplete, you're not only depleting the carbs, but you're probably depleting the sodium as well. So when you load back up, there's other things that aren't there. You might load up with the carbs, but also you have to probably load up with the sodium because it's a combination of things with the sodium and the carbohydrates and the water is what's going to give you the pump, the actual pump. So actually, if your sodium is too low, you probably will go flat and things won't happen the way that you want them to. So it's really kind of a scientific approach to that. And a lot of athletes now today aren't really carb loading or carb depleting. Question?
I've thought about bringing the Olympia to England when Dorian decides it's like his farewell, his last one. The problem in doing it is the expenses on the contest are so high now. I mean, they ran this year very close to $900,000, which is about 600,000 pounds. The American companies support us tremendously. We raised this year in sponsors about $530,000, of which Metrics here, one of our main sponsors, was the main one. They put up $150,000 alone for the contest. Coming here, I don't know if I'll get that kind of support. As you see, the companies that support me here are American companies, Carlo's English for Panada, and Rudy's Italian, but the supplement companies here, I mean, as I've heard on the phone from them, they don't like it that a Yank is coming to their town to run the show, and they don't want to support it. And I'm lucky that Metrics is coming to England through Keith and Dr. Connolly and Carlos Citron and distributing it, that through an American company who distributes here in England, that I can get a supplement sponsor here. So I run into that little bit of a backlash, which to me, bodybuilding's bodybuilding. It doesn't matter what country. If no one here wants to run a pro show and I want to take the risk, well, you know, let's all work together and support the event. That's my concern about bringing the Olympia back to England. Even if I just brought the Mister without the Miss, the Masters, the fitness, and all that other stuff, the expenses are still quite high, and if I don't get the support from companies, the contest just doesn't work. And that's the problem I'd run into. Yes? Yeah, I didn't measure this year's Fitness Olympia in success or not. We look at it as a building block. My theory behind the IFBB getting involved in fitness is to open us up to a new market. I want to be able to market fitness in Shape magazine, especially in America and then eventually throughout the world. In America, Shape magazine sells over 1 million copies per month. That's a lot. That's a very big magazine. An example, Muscle and Fitness only does about 550. Flex magazine, I'm just talking America now, is 250. Last year, we put an ad for Miss Olympia in Shape magazine and only put down my phone number for tickets. Anyone that called for Miss Olympia, I said, where did you see the ad? And they would say Flex, Muscle Fitness, Muscle Mag, Ironman, whatever. Not one person that read Shape called interested in the contest. So that meant that hardcore bodybuilding doesn't appeal to that market. Our hope is that the women that are in the fitness events appeal to that broader market, and we could bring that market into our sport here. And that's the whole game plan behind it. We weren't looking to make money. It didn't sell many tickets, probably other than family and friends of competitors. Most of the women are not really that well known. We hope from the Fitness Olympia that some will become well known and not only marketed in bodybuilding magazines, but in magazines such as Shape. And if we can develop them as stars in those type of magazines and then advertise the Fitness Olympia in there, that will bring people in. If you take example, if 1/10 of 1% of the buyers of Shape buy a ticket, that's 1,000 people. And those 1,000 people aren't going to come alone, so figure half of them bring someone, that's 1,500 tickets. That's significant in our sport. The Olympia only draws 4,000 people. You must remember how small our sport is, like here. I mean, this is the only IFBB professional contest in this whole country. And those of you who are here know that letters were sent out through the auditorium here, you know, announcing the contest, and we sent to everyone that's bought a ticket the past 4 years since I took over this event. And yet we don't have a sellout today. I mean, the place only seats about 2,100, and by the time 5 o'clock comes tonight, there'll be about 1,500, 1,600 in here. And that just shows how small bodybuilding really is. So in order to, getting back to the Olympia story, to bring an Olympia with high expenses, we need company support because, you know, we're not going to draw that many people. We're not a major sport and probably never will be. What's that? Was I pleased with it? I'm pleased with everything. I mean, the guys were in great condition. You know, Sonny Schmidt won the Masters, and you'll see him here today. And Patrick Nichols came in third. You'll also see Patrick today. The guys are in tremendous shape, you know, but it's just another event. I think it's just an add-on event that's enjoyable for the fans to watch. I think if we put the Masters Olympia on its own, it couldn't make it. It's just another thing to try and expand our sport.
What about the female bodybuilders?
Women's bodybuilding? Women's bodybuilding has been on a steadily decline since 1985. And as the women have become more extreme, the audiences have dropped. I'm just talking America now, I can't speak for other countries. And I just think it appeals to a very select market. And it's hard for us to take a woman bodybuilder and try and market her to the general public. In America, there's really no interest in women's bodybuilding. We can't get articles in the magazines, outside of bodybuilding magazines. We can't get stuff in the newspapers, unless these crazy talk shows that just want to make everybody look foolish. We can't get on talk shows. It's a sport that has its place, but it's a unique sport because the women are built not like society wants them to be. So the mainstream society looks down upon women bodybuilders and doesn't give them the credit for the effort and work and dedication and time that they put into it. So we're in a dilemma there too. We don't want to stop. We've even had discussions about discontinuing women's bodybuilding. And the reason why Miss Olympia is with Mr. Olympia is because Miss Olympia couldn't make money on its own anymore. And we put it together in a weekend last year with the Miss and the Masters on the Friday night, figuring their small market will come, and then we hope to get a crossover from the people coming to see Mr. That those people coming on Saturday night to see Mr., they get to the hotel Friday afternoon and say, hey, what the heck, let's go to the contest tonight, we're here. And it has worked to a certain extent. But as for those events standing on their own, they can't. And what our hope is that the fitness event will bring in this other market to strengthen that part of it. Our plan for next year is on the Friday running the Miss Olympia, the Masters, and the fitness all on Friday, and the Mr. Olympia on Saturday. So there's enough there maybe on Friday to draw a significant audience to support the event.
Any questions up there? You guys can just yell out. We can't see you. We can see you, but we can't see you. Who are our heroes in the sport? I can honestly say that my hero is Dorian Yates. I first saw him when I was 20 years old in 1988 at Night of Champions. I didn't know who his name was. You know, he just knew he had a tattoo that said My England, so I called him My England. I just said, wow, that guy's unbelievable, and time went on, so. What? Lee Haney, what? Is he making a comeback? Not that I know of. Vince is good friends with him. Vince?
The last time Lee and I spoke in reference to Lee's comeback, he never mentioned that he had the desire to get back into bodybuilding. He said he achieved everything he wanted to do. And just for the sheer sake of leaving that top note as it is, unblemished, he said he wasn't really interested in coming back.
Very negative. That's my opinion. No way.
Well, let's talk about that. All right. We got to understand that we're talking about two different types of physiques. Now, once we go back and restructure each round to make sure each round verifies what that round is to represent, and then you have to put a factor of what given athlete is in his greatest performance and shape that day, then we're talking apples and oranges. You know, so can he, would he, should he? We never know. Is it likely? Dorian's the man. Dorian's a monster, and Dorian will reign. But Dorian will fall one day as well. So Haney, I don't think, nah, we can't say that because, you know, these guys getting large every day, so it's hard to say.
Kevin, what do you think about that, bro?
I wouldn't want to be standing in the middle of them. How about that?
You probably will.
How many body parts we train? How many body parts you train in a week? I do a 3 on and a 1 off. So my first day would be chest, shoulders, and triceps. Day 2 would be back, hamstrings, and calves. Day 3 would be quads and abs. Then I'd take a day off, and then I'd repeat the cycle again. So it's probably about maybe 2 times a week.
I do a 2 on, 1 off. I like to hit a major body part followed by a small one. Day 1 for me would be chest and biceps. Day 2 would be shoulders and calves. Day 3 is rest. Day 4 is back and triceps. Day 5 is legs and then rest. So I really don't base myself on a weekly schedule. I just keep that schedule going through the whole time.
Like I just said, I train every day of the week except for Sunday. That's my down day. And I train Mondays and Thursdays the same way. It's either a push or pull directional movement, and Tuesdays and Fridays and Wednesdays and Saturdays. So, I figure the more time I put in, the more time you can sneak up behind some of these guys. So I'm one of the older guys out there, I'm like 39, and these guys are like 29. So I got to train every day.
27.
Vince has got the advantage because of the muscle maturity, but he doesn't say that, you know what I mean? When you get around
Vince started
30,
when he was 27 years old. I'm 27, this is when Vince started, so there is hope in the future for me.
Vince is pretty much at his peak now. They say you're at your best
He's
around
all ready for the Masters. He's big in here.
34, 35.
You got poor Sonny all scared already. Hasn't even had the title a week. He's got to worry about Vince.
Are you doing the Masters next year?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to do both next year. I qualified or placed in the top 5 of the best in the world today in all the open age groups. So when it comes down to taking on the older guys at 40, because see, at this rate, I'll get me a Sandow trophy, okay? Dorian got a few, I'm going to have a few. It's going to be a lot of these young boys that's never going to see one.